Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm showing you my go-to current summer phase of makeup. I've been perfecting this routine over the last couple of weeks, ever since summer has been breaking through here in the Netherlands. Usually it doesn't get that hot here, but in recent years we've seen over 30 degrees pretty commonly. And for me, that means this is TMI, definitely. But I get very sweaty, especially above my lip, and also a little bit between my brows and underneath my lip on my chin. Those are really my main areas. And I've noticed that even with a light layer of something, there will still be makeup breaking up when I touch up. So I dab my face after cycling or, any type of activity. And then usually there's a little bit of makeup missing, and I hate that. So I've been searching for a nice makeup routine that's not too heavy, that's not too difficult, because it is hot and I don't want to spend hours doing my makeup anymore. Yeah, I'm going to show you what that is. I hope this video is short and sweet, because actually the routine is as well. Subscribe if you like this kind of content, and let's get started. So for my perfect routine, I will do my whole face. So I will do something on my eyes, something on my cheeks, something on my lips. So I'm going to start with this eyeshadow base by Glamlite. I personally have quite oily eyelids. My skin is normal overall, but definitely in the summer it can get a little bit oily. So just to prevent any more creasing than is necessary, I do like to add an eyeshadow base. And I definitely recommend this if you are going to wear eyeshadow. So what I've been doing for my summer routine is that I pick one or two pretty shades, usually multi-chromes, and I just put them on my lid and that's it. Sometimes I add a liquid liner or something. So the palette that I want to use today is this one, the Seahorse from Adapt Cosmetics. I just did a full video showcasing 3 different looks. And today we're going to use it again. So this palette has a combination of more flaky and more smooth shades. I'm going to pick one of the smoother shades. And I think the one that I want for today is going to be Tiger Tail, which is this really interesting peach purple shift. Look at how that's sparkling. So what I like when using these more smooth shades is that they're not too noticeable. You can go do your work with this type of eyeshadow. You can have a casual day, but it's still pretty. It's still a little bit more than just a nude. And I mean, this shade is actually truly quite stunning. Also, if you're not wearing any mattes, a more smooth, not too flaky shade does usually blend better into nothing. So I spread it out with my middle finger, and then I take my index finger, I think it's called, to blend out the edges. Honestly, that's it. I'm going to add a liner, also a liner in my waterline. I'm going to add a inner corner highlight when I'm highlighting. And this is just going to be it for the eyeshadow, because it's so pretty and it's subtle, and well, I don't need to explain myself 3 times. In my mirror, I definitely also see a lot of lime green, and I've recently been really liking this specific eyeliner from Relove by Makeup Revolution. It's this beautiful minty color, and I feel like this formula, you have to break through the upper layer if you're buying this new, but then it's just so reliable. I feel like this color will stay in my waterline for hours. So that's just a nice little pastel addition. You could go with any type of color. Then for my upper waterline, I'm not going to apply any eyeliner. I've been skipping this step. Instead, I am going to apply a liquid liner, and I love colored liquid liners. So this one is from Catrice. This is their calligraph artist. Shouldn't it be calligraphy artist? I don't know. Anyway, it's in the shade Midnight Sky. Just a beautiful deep blue. So usually I would make the wings a little bit smaller. I guess they got away from me a little bit today. So now what I do still like to do, and I will make these a little bit more tidy once I clean up my under eyes. So even though this is more of a quick eyeshadow look, I still like to apply some lashes. And what I've changed, and this is not just a summer routine thing, but I've decided that I'm not going to wear my lashes all the way to my inner corner anymore because they keep pointing upwards and it's annoying me. So I've cut my favorite lashes. These are from Makeup Revolution X Beetlejuice, and I've sort of cut 3 millimeters of them, something like that. And now they're still long enough. They're not quite half lashes, there's something in between. And I love them this way, and they're a lot more natural, but they still give me that nice lift. So it's perfect. So before applying mascara, I'm going to apply the glue. This is just a regular duo glue, because this glue needs to dry down quite a bit. So I have all the time in the world to do some mascara, clean up my under eyes, etc. So for mascara, I just use whatever I have on hand. Whenever I do lashes, I like to use a black mascara. So this is the Lash Like a Boss Waterproof from Essence. I like Essence mascaras in general. So now that I've applied my mascara, I'm going to take a makeup wipe, clean my fingers, my under eyes. I always smudge a little bit of mascara. And then I also like to go over the wing and clean it up a little bit so it's more what I actually want. By now the lashes have dried enough, and I'll try to come a little bit closer. So I place them first on the outside of my eye, and then I push them as far as they reach. So applying lashes like this is super easy. I really like these anyway, but I like them even more like this for my summer makeup look. So that's it for the eyes. Now let's jump into the face. So the thing is, I have normal skin, but I like it to be a little bit more glowy. However, in summer, it's not possible to make it as glowy as I want. Whenever I do a very glowy foundation, it just ends up breaking up whenever I take my sweat off. So I've discovered the perfect product to prevent this. This is the Danessa Myricks Color Balm. Why do I not know the name? Blurring Balm Powder, that's the one. I have the colored one. There's also a clear one. But I like to use the colored one. I have mine in the shade 2 because this actually creates the perfect base, which I just add a little bit of concealer on top of. So I skip foundation fully. And I still apply quite a thin layer of this. I made the mistake of applying too much once, and then it didn't look nice at all. So you don't really have to use this product for coverage. That's where you're going to use your concealer for. But what it does do is even out your skin tone. Actually quite a bit, as you can see. And then the other benefit that this has, which is the main reason I'm using it, is that it has Upsolite in it. And this is targeted towards oily skin, but also sweaty skin. Upsolite is an ingredient that absorbs any type of liquid. So it's not that it's suddenly sweat proof, don't think that. But what I have noticed is that I can add products on top of this primer, and whenever I get a little bit of sweat on my upper lip and I dab it away with a paper towel, the makeup is still intact. So it's the perfect hack for summer. And it's not going to prevent sweat from coming through, but it is a little bit diminished. And like I said, you can solve the problem more easily. However, it is a little bit matte. And because of that, I try to use a little bit of a more glowy concealer. But I have two options. If you want the bulletproof version, I think you should go maybe with the Chanel concealer or something similar. But this is more matte. It's a medium coverage, very creamy, but it sets down and it's quite matte. So if you use this on top of this with a little bit of powder on top, bulletproof. Still get a little bit of sweat, but if you wipe it away, yeah, like I said, completely intact. My alternative at the moment is the Givenchy concealer, the Prisme Libre, the skin caring concealer. I use this in a skin color, mine is 110W. And because this is a little bit less coverage than the Chanel, but because there's also a little bit of color correcting happening because of that balm, I do find this coverage enough for underneath my eyes. And then I spread it a little bit along my cheeks, take just a dash on the forehead, nose, and chin. And I can also take this a little bit on my upper lip. And because of that blurring balm underneath, it's no issue. So that's it for my base, pretty much. Now, usually I would use at least one cream product, but I'm not going to. For me, in the summer, powder products just last a lot better, and I do have a couple of specific ones that last all day, more than all day. So I'm just going to use those. And also, I feel like I don't have to use as much face powder, so my makeup stays a little bit more luminous. This seems counterintuitive, but it is true. However, I am going to set the center of my face, and the powder that I like to use for this, I've experimented with a couple of powders on top of this base, but since it's a little bit flat, since the concealer is the same shade as the foundation, I'm going to use a brightening powder, and I've been loving this one by Moira. It's quite light, it's not as, well, it's actually not as good as the Givenchy one, but it is a little bit more brightening. So I have the pink version of this powder, and this is a nice light powder for on top of this pretty light base. It doesn't make it look heavy, it keeps a little bit of the glow intact. It's a nice powder. And I set underneath my eyes, along my nose, and right here on the pore area. I definitely set my lip. And in previous cases, whenever I did this, it would immediately take off the makeup because I am actually a little bit sweaty while filming this and also while doing my makeup in the summer. But for some reason, whenever I use the blurring balm, it just doesn't happen. And then the little bit of added powder does help prevent sweat from coming through in an early stage. I also use a little bit on top of my nose. Now I still have a little bit of luminosity, mostly at the sides of my face. I will add a little bit of highlighter in the center of my face and blush, so it'll be nice and glowy. Because I'm not wearing a cream bronzer or a cream blush, I do like my blush and bronzer to be a little bit more glowy. My personal favorite bronzer is this one from Chanel. It's not available anymore, I don't think, but any type of slightly glowy, warm bronzer will do. I try to not add too much. Since this is a more light look, I just find that it suits me, this lighter style of makeup. I don't know if I'll keep doing it, but for now I'm kind of into it. There, that's nice. Now, a pretty recent favorite that I have are the Dior Rosy Glow blushes that I know everyone is talking about all the time, but since I have more shades of them, I've been using them a lot, and I find that they give quite a bit of natural, beautiful radiance, and they last. They last so long. I think they're my longest lasting blush. But for today, since I am having a bit of a cool toned eye look, I'm going to use the original Rosy Glow blush in the shade pink. And even though this, on most people, this is quite light, I have to be a little bit careful with it because I think it's the pH in it that on me makes quite a vivid shade. It's not even that cool of a pink on me, but it is nice. I do think the newer formula is slightly more radiant than this one. So this is the old formula, which I still like, but I have Rosewood and Cherry in the newer formula and I like those better. And then for highlighter, my recent obsession is the Noctilucent palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. I find these highlights to be long lasting, to be very glittery, they're nice colors. They give a punch to my pretty much satin cheek. So these are the colors, and since I have a more neutrally pink look, I'm going to go for the middle shade on the top. But what's also really pretty is this shade over here to add as more of a blush topper. But for now, I'm going to use this one. And the trick with this highlighter and any type of glittery highlight is to not add too much. So I'm just adding a little bit on the top of my cheeks, and I'm really trying to blend it in. As you may have noticed, I still haven't done anything to my brows. We'll save that for the last step. So now for the lips, what I really like is a nice glossy lip. And I feel like that's the one area, well, maybe apart from highlighter, where you can just go ahead with the glow and it won't really matter whether it's summer or winter. All right, I had to search for some things and it got hot. So allow me to demonstrate what happens when I take the sweat off my lip. It looks perfect. It actually does. And as you can see, there's hardly any color on this napkin. So yeah, this routine actually works. So for lips, I'm going to use a nice pinky toned lip liner, a little bit more dark pink is what I prefer. By the way, this shade is Brunch from Makeup Revolution. And then my favorite gloss at the moment is still the Fat Lip Oil Drip Fat, I don't know, lip oil from NYX in the shade Mist Call, which is the pink one. And I just layer this on pretty heavily because, you know, I gotta glow somewhere. And now we're almost done, but I'm going to take my wipe and I'm going to clean or dry my eyebrows because after doing my full makeup routine, whether it's in front of lights and camera or just on my own, I tend to have a little bit of sweat in there. So I found that my favorite eyebrow gel, which is the Too Faced one, simply doesn't work as well whenever I sweat a lot. So it's only at this point that I add my Too Faced Fluff and Hold Laminating Brow Wax. So I just apply a generous amount of this. And then finally, I like to go in, I used to go in with a colored brow gel, but I feel like that brow gel messed up the long-lasting power of this brow gel. So I just add a little bit of micro-filling brow pen from Benefit in the shade Light Brown. And I try not to go overboard with this. Afterwards, you do have to make sure that you wipe off your product because there will be a little bit of brow gel stuck in it. So this could be your finished look. It is nice. I like it. I personally like just a little bit more glow, and I do think those new Dior blushes give me a little bit more of that. So instead, I picked up two products that I feel like you could add if the sweat and oil on your face are not necessarily in this area, which is the case for me. They're more in this area, in the center. So what I personally really like to use when I feel like my whole makeup is just a little bit too matte, a little bit too dry, I like to use this Colored Balm by Makeup Revolution. I'm using this one because it has a slight pinky shade, but I also really like to use this one in Sweetwater from Danessa Myricks, which is a little bit more red. And I use this with a buffing brush, and I just dab a little bit, sort of in the blush highlight area. As you can see, it adds a little bit more color. I even put this right underneath my eyes, because that's just not the area that I sweat, so it's fine. But if that is an area of concern for you with long-lasting summer makeup, then I would definitely skip this type of step. And also, because it's summer, I'm going to skip doing my nose with this, which is sad because I love doing colors on my nose. But that's just one of those areas that I tend to produce more oils. So there you have it. That's my summer look. It wasn't as quick as I was thinking it would be, but maybe while editing I can get it down to 20 or less. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one.